The big news in the media at the moment is that obesity is a very big risk factor when it comes to preventing and fighting COVID-19.
And what we're going to talk about in this video is how, with a keto and fasting lifestyle, you can help prevent COVID-19. Welcome to the Liz and Skatz channel.
I'm Liz and I'm a clinical holistic therapist, yoga and meditation teacher.
Hi, I'm Skatz and I'm a musician and music therapist with type 2 diabetes. If you want to help yourself to improve your health, then do this. Subscribe, and click on the bell.
So hello! Today we're going to give you the 5 ways that you can reduce weight in order to prevent and help fight against COVID-19.
And how using the keto and fasting lifestyle is the best way of doing it. So let's get right into it. Number 1 then, better food and nutrition.
Well, lots of people ask us all the time when we tell them that we're on a keto and intermittent fasting diet. They're always sort of saying, what do you eat? You know, when do you eat? All this kind of thing.
Do you starve yourself?
Yeah, oh, that's a very common one. Do you get hungry?
No,
No, we don't.
not anymore.
So basically we eat 70% fat, 20% protein and 5% carbohydrates, and that's our overall 100% of our calorific intake each day. And so a lot of that comes from vegetables. So we like a lot of cruciferous vegetables, so broccoli, cauliflower, cabbages, Brussels sprouts,
Spinach.
a lot of spinach. I've been growing a lot of spinach as well this year, so it's been great. A lot of salads. We eat a lot of things like avocado, which has become our new best friend. The
Number
pair of
one
us.
food,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness me. You listen to lots of people online and they'll tell you avocados are brilliant because they have lots of healthy fats in and lots of nutrition and lots of minerals. So very healthy stuff. I'm back eating meat again. I was vegetarian for a while, but I'm eating meat while I'm on this diet just because I need that extra protein. And of course meat is a very good source. Meat and fish, of course, is a very good source of protein.
And lots of other vitamins too.
Yes, well we do like to eat seeds and nuts as well. So in particular pecans and Brazils and walnuts are among our favourites at the moment. We just snack on if we're feeling a little bit peckish or just a little bit low in energy. And of course the fats tend to come from the meat itself, so saturated fat. Some people go, when they hear that word, but honestly, it's absolutely brilliant. Keeps your energy levels up nice and high. We also consume a lot of olive oil and a lot of butter as well, and cream.
And we're proving that this is good in the fight against obesity because I've lost over 50 pounds so far and I'm due to lose another, 10, 20 or maybe slightly more.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find out what I look like when I get there, and you've lost nearly 30.
I'm nearly at 30 pounds now. I can't believe it. I've not been below 12 stone for a very long time. So we're doing really well whilst eating all of that amount of fat. For years we've been told that fats are not very good for us, and that's true. They're not very good for you if you eat them in conjunction with complex carbohydrates. So we don't eat any complex carbohydrates at the moment. That includes bread, potatoes, pasta, rice. We don't eat any of those, and we don't eat any of the root vegetables either.
No, because they are sweeter. They have more carbs.
Yeah, and very starchy, so that means they've got more very complex carbs in there. So the rule of thumb is anything that's in the ground growing, we don't eat it. So potatoes, carrots, parsnips, beetroots, things like that.
Not at the moment. We will bring those into the diet gradually when we get down to the target weights.
Yes.
That we've set for ourselves, and we'll be able to reintroduce some of that, and especially if we're doing the 1 meal a day fasting, which we'll continue to do occasionally as we go on the maintenance side of the lifestyle.
Yeah, that's right.
Sugar, ba 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 ba, oh honey, honey. Sugar.
Yes. Sugar, this is something we completely leave out of our lifestyle right now, and probably will never introduce it back in again.
Certainly not as an additive.
Most definitely not, no. Very scary stuff, sugar. Absolutely no reason to ingest it whatsoever, it would seem.
No nutritional value
No.
to sugar.
in the 60s and the 70s, they were telling us low fat everything. That's when low fat came in. All low fat food, because they take the fat out, the flavour is gone. So they had to add stuff in order to make it taste nice for you again. So, for example, a low fat yogurt they'll put extra sugar in and they'll put extra flavourings, and it just all adds up. And of course, we need to keep blood sugar levels and sugar levels in our body down in order to be able to lose the weight.
And why is that? Because of the insulin.
Well, when we eat complex carbohydrates and refined sugar, and all sugars, actually honey, even dried fruit has lots and lots of sugar in. That's fruit sugar, fructose, which is really exactly the same thing. What happens? We have a massive insulin spike in our blood. And insulin is a fat storing hormone. So if there's too much sugar in the blood, we have insulin resistance. If after a long time, then this is where the problems start to come in, because the cells shut down, don't want any sugar, thank you very much. And then what happens is the glucose just hangs around in the blood. Then the insulin takes it, doesn't know what to do with it, liver's full, can't fill the liver up anymore. Where does it go? First place it goes, belly fat. That's the first thing that will happen, and then it'll start storing fat all around your internal organs. So sugar basically turns to fat thanks to insulin. So if sugar levels are high, insulin levels will be high, and if insulin levels are high, fat storage levels will be very high.
That's right. And the more that people get into insulin resistance, where the insulin can't do its job properly anymore, and more insulin is produced, then that's when diabetes happens.
Yes.
And that's what I have. Maybe not anymore, because I'm beating it.
Yes, absolutely. Diabetes is actually a symptom of insulin resistance. Diabetes is not a disease on its own. It's been misconstrued like that for many, many years. Diabetes is just the result of insulin resistance. A bit like when we sneeze, when we have a cold. The cold is the problem, the virus is the problem, and in fact a sneeze is a symptom. In the same way that coronavirus, one of the symptoms is coughing. It's not actually the virus that does it, it's just a symptom of the disease.
So what we want to do is prevent.
Yes.
Rather than try and patchwork a cure on the end.
Yeah, because we've always been told that when you have diabetes, once you've gone over that threshold, that's it. And the only way is down, unfortunately. But we have discovered this other way.
This is good science
we're
talking here. And lots of medical professionals are getting on board with it now. It's not a fad like it was 20, 30 years ago with the Atkins diet, for example, which isn't exactly the same as keto, but it was kind of the start of the revolution, if you like, towards preventing conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is why we're here today.
So that's sugar. There's a lot more we could talk about sugar, and I think we'll do a whole video all about it.
It's a whole show all on its own.
I've got a healthy gut.
Yes. Very, very underestimated what good the healthy gut can do for you. 70% of our immune system comes from your bowel, your gut, right the way from the stomach all the way down. And so we need to keep it nice and healthy. And one way that we do this is by eating vegetables on the keto diet, making sure that we include things like apple cider vinegar.
Yay!
We love apple cider vinegar.
Dude, it's good stuff. Do you know what? I used to get really bad acid reflux. And that was terrible. It would keep me awake at night, and it was all to do with the amount of sugar in my diet. And it was because, you think of antacids as being an alkali, and so you take antacids to try and suppress the acid in your stomach that's rising up. But actually what's happening is that the balance of bacteria and acids in your stomach isn't correct. So the stomach's fighting back. And actually what you need to do is put acid in there in the form of apple cider vinegar.
When we take antacids, for example, antacids are actually alkali because they mostly contain things like calcium carbonate or chalk. So yeah, when we are actually experiencing acid reflux and indigestion, we are actually lacking in acid in the stomach, so we do need to do it. I've heard of people actually drinking pickle water as well, which is kind of the same sort of principle. It's a vinegar. So apple cider vinegar is absolutely stupendous.
It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Yes.
Acid to get rid of the acid, but you're not. It's not getting rid of the acid. You're balancing your stomach acid so that the bacteria can live that you need, the good bacteria.
Wonderful thing about apple cider vinegar is, as well as it being a lovely acid for your stomach, if you buy the organic with the mother, it goes all cloudy, and you shake it up and it goes all cloudy and there's bits in the bottom. Now this sediment is actually a probiotic. And probiotic is basically what means that it gives you good gut flora. It feeds the good gut flora. Now we have a lot of bacterium in our bowel, obviously, because of what's going on in there, food digestion and waste removal. So we need to keep that gut flora in check. If, for example, you've had some antibiotics recently, you need to get some more probiotics in your life. So take some apple cider vinegar, eat some sauerkraut, kimchi as well is very good. And
a lot of people buy those little bottles of what look like yogurt, and that they say is for your gut bacteria, but some of them contain sugar,
which is not good for you at all. Because sugar is actually an inflammatory. So if you're eating sugar and you have anything in your body that, if it's inflamed, gets worse, like arthritis or bursitis, anything along those lines, you will feel more pain from the sugar.
Yeah, so what about the immune system? How does that link into this?
Right, okay, well, as I said before, 70% of the immune system comes from the bowel. And of course, if you have a healthy immune system, you're like a little fortress and nothing will penetrate. Oh my goodness. So you can be, if you imagine yourself, with a moat around, if you're getting good sleep and you have good gut flora, good bacterial health in your gut, then you are absolutely on a winner, and you will be much more able to fight off anything. In particular, what we're talking about today, coronavirus.
Exactly. And also lots of other conditions as well. This isn't just about coronavirus.
No, that's
we're
true.
Talking about that today.
Yeah.
But heart disease, cardiovascular,
diabetes, stroke,
respiratory conditions.
Yeah. Asthma, arthritis, and bursitis as well, like we just mentioned. There are so many.
Dementia.
Dementia as well, which is now being called type 3 diabetes.
Interesting.
So insulin resistance now is being linked to dementia.
And we're talking about, I read in an article today, it's something like 80% of diseases across Europe that kill you can be prevented through healthy lifestyle. That's such a huge headline, and it's good that that's being recognised. So they're starting to talk about prevention instead of a cure for this. And the bills for the NHS and other health organisations around the world need to be reduced. And the bill for looking after older people needs to be reduced as well as the population gets older. So this can all help in such a big way.
That's right. This is why we love keto and intermittent fasting.
Oh, my internal organs are so relaxed.
I worry about him sometimes. So this is all about your internal organs and how losing weight using keto and intermittent fasting can actually help you to boost your immune system and therefore fight against COVID. So we've already spoken about insulin resistance and how that actually means that you've got too much insulin in your body. Then the fat starts storing in your belly first off. You'll notice first that your belly will start to get bigger. That's because you've already got a lovely layer of fat around your liver, your pancreas, your heart, and the spleen, and all the other internal organs inside.
And all the tubes with the blood in them. Visceral fat, that's what it's called. There's a lovely word.
I know. It's a really I always think of visceral.
It's a visceral word,
Indeed. So, yes, it really does what it says on the tin. So, visceral fat is scary. Can you imagine having a massive duvet around you all day? You're going to get very, very hot. And that basically means that you would not be able to function as well So your liver doesn't function as well, kidneys, heart, spleen, gallbladder, everything starts working poorly. And so you cannot eliminate toxins, and you cannot get yourself into a position where you can function well as a human in your everyday life. And gradually we get slower and slower, inflammatory systems start turning up, and we just gain weight.
That's true. And once you can't run, for example, once you can't just even run down the street to catch your bus.
Or up the stairs.
Exactly. You start to walk and become more slovenly, and you start to sit down more.
So the main focus then is that if you've got lots of fatty liver and fatty kidneys, you're not going to have an efficient system. So if you do contract the coronavirus, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to fight it, because your liver and your kidneys are your toxin removal system, as is your bowel. And so you will not be able to fight it off as well as you could because of that kind of big duvet of fat that's surrounding your organs.
Exactly. And it's a respiratory disease, a chronic
Yes.
respiratory disease, COVID-19.
Yeah.
So getting fit and healthy so that your lungs are better able to cope
Yeah.
with it is vital,
Yes.
absolutely vital.
And also, of course, I've been hearing about stories about how it affects small vessels and things like that too. So, and it's also affecting people's heart. I think somebody said the other day that they'd had a stroke as a result of COVID. So
it can leave lasting effects.
really can. So, of course, the fitter your body is, the better equipped your body is to remove and prevent, the better off you will be.
That's why less children are getting it seriously.
Yes.
That's because they're young and their bodies are more able to fight off.
Yes. Yeah. Sleep. Sleep. Oh, I love sleeping. If you imagine all of your beautiful internal organs, if they were on the go all the time,
Like that.
then you're going to need a rest, aren't you? And sleep is fantastic, especially for your brain. When our brains are in tip-top function, then we are able to make sensible decisions, like I'm going to wear my mask into this shop, or something along those lines. And you're less likely to forget things, and you're more likely to remember, I must make some lovely dinner for myself tonight. Sleep is vital for all brain function and for the resting of your entire body from tip to toe.
And sleep is especially important when it comes to fasting, because you are in autophagy after a certain number of hours of being in fasting. If you've had better sleep, then your body isn't under so much stress, so you can remain in autophagy, and the results of that can be much better. And we did do a whole video all about that.
We did, yes. 2 years ago, if you'd have talked to me about this, I wouldn't have believed you that a diet could actually help you to sleep. But keto and intermittent fasting is making me sleep properly.
And when I was obese, I would snore terribly after being above 13 stone. Was kind of the point when I would start snoring a lot, and then it was worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, and it ended up being sleep apnea in the end, which is where you actually stop breathing altogether. It's so scary for me.
It's all right for me. I'm
I know,
not
he was
aware.
fast
I'm
asleep, he
unconscious.
didn't even know. But and I thought he died a couple of times in the night. It was awful. Yeah, so sleep really, really does help for that. So of course now you're not snoring because you've lost the weight. Your sleep's better.
And therefore my body recovers
Yes.
much better.
Yes.
Which is what autophagy is all about.
Yes, that's right.
So, in conclusion,
keto and intermittent fasting are a really useful set of lifestyles in order for you to be able to fight off not just COVID, but anything that comes at you.
So, tell us how your journey is going.
Yes.
Ask us questions in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and
Click on the bell, please.
Yes, and we will see you in the next video.
Thank you very much if you've already subscribed.